When I was young, I liked Pokemon, as most kids did back in the day. Despite being fairly young to the series, I played Pokemon Red, and I loved it. Unfortunately, as I got into double digits, I went through that horrible phase where I thought everything I loved when I was younger was childish. Of course, this included Pokemon. So, I missed out on Pokemon Gold and Silver, Ruby and Sapphire, even Fire Red and Leaf Green. Though, early on in high school, I managed to get my hands on Pokemon Diamond, and I loved Pokemon all over again. I didn't like the game itself, although I far from hated it. The whole concept and gameplay of it reminded me of why I loved the series in the first place. I went and bought everything I could. I managed to find a Fire Red and an Emerald in a local game traders. And I bought Heart Gold when it came out. Hell, despite having the remake, I even went back and played the original Red again. I'm even thinking of buying Yellow, as I never got the chance to play that. Because I had both Red and Fire Red, I felt that I needed both Gold and Heart Gold, but Gold was hard to find. Whereas my game traders who frequently stocked Yellow and the GBA games, they didn't stock any from 2nd gen. This irked me, so I went online to get a copy. Sure enough, I found one going for $20. It was the cheapest one there, so I bought it. It took about 3 weeks, but finally it arrived. I opened up the package and took a look at the golden colored game and placed it in my limited edition Pokemon Game Boy Color. The game screen starts up like normal, but there was no save before me. I was a little disappointed. I would have loved to see how far the previous owner had gotten and what team they had. I named my character Gold, and my rival Silver. Of course, the game played perfectly. That is, until I got to Violet City. Nothing was wrong with the city itself. Everything was fine. There was no creepy music, and I beat the monks at Sprout Tower no problem. Nothing was wrong. But there was something wrong with Volkner. Don't get me wrong. His sprite wasn't decaying or anything. He didn't say anything weird before the battle, and none of his Pokemon were harmed either. It was after the battle, which was weird. Instead of talking to me, I immediately get the badge. After the Get Badge music finished, the Gold got the Zephyr badge text box disappeared, and he simply said, ... I pressed A, and he went on. I then got the TM, and was able to leave. That was it. I tried talking to him again, but he just said the same thing. I talked to one of his trainers in the gym to see if he still says the same thing. Surprisingly, he had something different from when I last spoke to him. He's waiting. Who is waiting? And for what? That's a bit creepy. But I save and continue on with the game. After that, I'm a little surprised to see that the game hasn't changed at all. Plays all out the way it's meant to. Maybe it was a little glitch. I almost forgot about it until I came up to the next gym leader, Bugsy. The same thing happened. He said what he was meant to say before the battle, but after, the badge was immediately gotten, and all he said was... And then the TM was obtained, and like Faulkner, he'd just say the same thing if I tried to talk to him again. I made sure to talk to the other trainers after I beat him, before I took on Bugsy, and they said nothing out of the ordinary. However, after Bugsy was beaten, one said the same thing Faulkner's trainer said. He is waiting. I assumed the others would just say the same thing, but I was wrong. The others simply said, hurry. As I progressed through the game, I built my team. It consisted of Typhlosion, Umbreon, Dragonair, Sudowoodo, and Togetic. I don't like to nickname my Pokemon. I feel they don't need one, but they were still my pals. I found the storyline itself fine. Not even Silver said anything out of his usual dicky character, but all the gym leaders said the same thing when they were beaten. And depending on how many trainers in their gym there were, I'd get new phrases. When I beat Claire, I'd gotten these phrases. He is waiting. Hurry. The badges must be obtained. He must be battled. The ticking must stop. By this point, I assumed that the game was a hack and may not have been finished if there's nothing wrong with it outside of the gym leaders. I fly to Newbark Town and go on my way to defeat the Elite Four. They all said the same thing when beaten. Of course, they still said the same thing if you tried to talk to them again. It was getting annoying, but Lance was last, and I thought that finally this ticking would stop. His team goes down fairly easily thanks to both Sudowoodo and Dragonair. After his defeat, I was greeted with a ... Oh great, I thought, as I pressed the A button, but he said, "Don't keep him waiting." All of a sudden, the screen goes black, and then the credits roll. Just like that, no congratulations on beating the Elite Four, no Hall of Fame, just straight to the credits. The game restarted like normal, and I'm back in Gold's room. The game is normal once more, and I'm now able to go to Kanto. This was the part where I was most excited when playing Heart Gold, and thus, I was just as excited playing it through Gold. I start off with Janine, who was the lowest level out of all the Kanto gym leaders. She goes down easily, unsurprisingly. Her text appears, and all she says is ... I click A, and she says something slightly different than all the others. Don't keep him waiting. The trainers don't say the same thing either. In fact, all they say is just ... now. I continue on, beating the gym leader after gym leader, and they all say the same thing. By this point, I had 13 badges. I just needed to wake up Snorlax and get to the other side of Kanto. I caught Snorlax and headed to Diglett's cave. Before I go to beat Brock, though, I went to Mount Moon to beat Silver for the last time. The battle was mine, of course, and Silver can't believe he lost again. But he says something slightly different than what he was meant to. I lost again. ... Gold. You should be careful. There's something not right. And then he leaves. He just seems to run slightly faster than he did all the other times I beat him. But I put it past me, and continue on to beat Brock, of course. He says the same thing the other Kanto gym leaders say when they're beaten. The same with Blaine. I now have 15 badges. All that was left was Blue. The battle was close, but in the end, I win. Again, the badge get music plays automatically, and the text box with Gold got the Earth badge pops up. But instead of the ellipsis, I was greeted with Gold's name. Gold. Blue says, "Stay away from Mount Silver. Don't listen to everyone else. Stay away from it." Everyone else? As in, those who said, "He is waiting"? And then it clicked. Mount Silver. Red. Red is waiting. But why did I need to stay away from him? I nervously clicked A to make Blue continue. For the sake of you and me, the ticking needs to continue. I don't know why, but that one sentence freaked the shit out of me. But I continued nonetheless, going on to Oaks and getting permission to go to Mount Silver. Blue's words still went around in my head, but I was too curious not to go. And this was Red, right? You had to beat him in order to really complete this game. So in I went. I explored everywhere, grabbing all the items and looking everywhere. Finally, I found him. Red. He was looking the other way. Of course, I readied my Pokemon for battle and saved. I went up to him. I was met with the usual silence before the battle ensued. Pokemon Trainer Red would like to battle. It was just as epic as it was in Hard Gold. I hardly cared that his Pikachu completely owned my team, but for some reason, I didn't white out. The screen cuts back to the overworld. For the first time, I heard Red speak. Then, the screen turned white, and the text box read, "Gold whited out." For some reason, I found the ticking much creepier when Red does it. I then spent hours upon hours level grinding so I could beat the legendary trainer. I managed to get them all the way up to level 70, which I thought would do. After all, my team in Heart Gold could beat his level 88 Pikachu and a team at level 68. Then my team in Gold could beat his level 82 Pikachu and a team at level 70. Armed with stronger Pokemon and a bunch of revives, hyper potions, and full restores, I was ready for him. I talk to him again, and he says nothing. The battle starts, and again, out goes Pikachu. Sudowoodo goes first, and I get it to use Earthquake. Red's Pikachu obviously goes first and uses Iron Tail. Luckily, though, it misses. Earthquake managed to take it down and won. Red sends out Blastoise, and I don't have any type advantages for it, so I counter it with Dragonite, using Outrage to take it down. I do, but Blastoise has also done fair damage on Dragonite, and her health has gone in the red zone. Venusaur was up next. I switched out for Togetic. It's fast and it hits first with flying moves, landing super effective hits. However, they don't do a fair lot despite being super effective, and Venusaur unfortunately takes Togetic down. I didn't want Typhlosion just yet. He's my highest level Pokemon, but I have no choice. One eruption and Venusaur falls. Snorlax comes out next. Another eruption takes off a bit more than half. One more and Snorlax also falls. Next is Espeon, and Umbreon is sent out to take it on. Despite going first, most of Espeon's attacks are psychic, and thus do nothing. A few feint attacks, and Espeon faints as well. Charizard is last, and I leave Umbreon out. I use my turn to heal Dragonite fully before Umbreon is taken down in one hit by Charizard's Flamethrower. Dragonite comes out, and 2 surfs later, Red's Charizard falls. I yell triumphantly as I feel so proud after defeating Red. It cuts back to the overworld, and as usual, Red has his text box full of ellipses. I press A, but instead of it fading to black and him disappearing, the text box continues. I feel a jolt of electricity and automatically drop the Game Boy. After a couple of seconds to recover from surprise, I look at it and see that it's switched off. I turn it back on, but it tells me that the save file was corrupted. I try a new game, but it tells me the same thing. I then realize, after Red, there is nothing. Once you beat him, there is nothing left to do. The ticking was leading up to that. As long as Red was undefeated, everyone could continue existing. But after I beat him, and so he destroyed the world, Gold's world, Blue's world, everyone's world, he destroyed it. He was waiting to. I should have listened to Blue, because now all I hear is ticking. And I own a digital clock. For the sake of you and me, the ticking needs to continue.